You are welcome. This is the Messiah Revelation Ministry, an end time ministry dedicated to the Messiah, the arrival of the kingdom of the Messiah. In this video, we are looking at the shakings in the world, how the Lord shakes the world, and in the days prior to the coming of the Messiah, the world will be shaken. And we see the shaking in the world. America is shaking to the core as a result of the war with Iran. Israel is shaking to the core. Iran itself is shaking to the core, and the world is shaking to the core. The foundations of the world is shaking. The foundations of military supremacy is shaking. And the foundations of arrogance is shaking. Even the arrogance of America is shaking as a result of the war. I'm talking about the February 28, 2026 war. It's a war initiated by Israel and America against Iran. And the war has shaken the foundations of the world, if you will. And the purpose of this video is to examine the pattern of the shaking of the world, the empires of the world. How are they shaking? And we need to understand that because there's a prophecy in Daniel 2, verse 44, that all the kingdoms of this world will fall and they will yield to the kingdom of the Messiah that is coming. And so, if we understand how the world powers fall, how the world powers are shaken, then we will understand how they will shake in the end times when they fall, because the kingdom of the Messiah will take over. The kingdom of the Messiah will take over the kingdoms of this world, including the American Empire, including the fallen Roman Empire and the fallen British Empire. All civilizations will fall, including the almighty Western civilization. And the arrogancy of the proud will come to an end. And it will be the shaking of the kingdom of the Messiah that will cause all these developments. Daniel 2:44. What does the prophet Daniel say in Daniel 2, verse 44? And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms. And the prophet Daniel had a vision about the kingdoms that will rise. And Daniel talks about the kingdoms they came to pass. Babylonian kingdom came to pass. The Greeks they came and they left, and the Roman Empire came and they left. But amidst the ruins of the Roman Empire emerged another empire. It's an end time nation. It's an arrogant nation. It's a very proud nation. And it's a nation that calls herself the most powerful nation in the world, the nation that has taken resources of other nations, and the nation that is a rebel against God, leading the world into rebellion against God. And that nation is being shaken now. I'm talking about United States of America, a nation that is being shaken right now as a result of the war the war against Iran. Um, we need to provide a pattern of the shakings of empires, empires that become so proud, they become so arrogant, and they also fight against the people of God, the chosen of God. And there's a pattern of the fall of these nations, the proud nations, the arrogant nations, the bullies of this world. There's a pattern of their fall. And if you look at the pattern of their fall, there's a geographical element about it. And here we need to focus on the geographical element. Um, I, I look at history and I got the revelation that when the Lord is causing the fall of a proud and arrogant nation, the Lord uses his creation, the creation of God, geographical creation. And that's how we look at the fall of Pharaoh, the Pharaoh of Egypt. The Pharaoh of Egypt fell in the middle of the Red Sea when he followed the children of God who were in captivity in Egypt. You know the story of the Exodus and how the Lord used the sea to trap the Pharaoh of Egypt. And the horses and the horse riders, the chariots, they were drowned in the middle of the sea. And the Lord used um, the sea to trap the Pharaoh of the day. That was the Exodus fall, the fall of the Pharaoh in the Red Sea, the Lord using a geographical element, the sea, to drown the wicked and the bully of the world. Fast forward to our time, 1956. The Lord also used geography to cause the fall of the proud and the big nations, arrogant nations. Here we're talking about the Suez Canal Crisis in 1956. That was a crisis that came because the president of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, nationalized the Suez Canal. And nations wanted passage into the Suez Canal. And Israel attacked Egypt in 1956 during the Suez Canal Crisis. Israel was joined by United Kingdom and France. They joined Israel against Egypt in the Suez Canal crisis. United States and Soviet Union at that time, they opposed the intervention and the United Nations, and they publicly opposed the action of United Kingdom, France, and Israel in the Suez crisis. It was the intention of United Kingdom and France and Israel to topple the government of Gamal Abdel Nasser, an Arab leader and a nationalist, pan-Africanist, pan-Arabist, and a nationalist and an anti-imperialist revolutionary leader in Egypt. And you know the consequences of the Suez Canal crisis. It led to the humiliation of United Kingdom. It weakened the United Kingdom diplomatically, politically, and not long after that, England lost her colonies, beginning with the independence of Ghana in 1957. The Suez Canal crisis came in 1956, and the following year, 1957, the following year, 1957, Ghana became independent, being the first black nation to gain independence from British colonial rule. And here we're talking about a geographical phenomenon, a canal, a sea element that resulted in the humiliation of England, a nation that had colonized a large proportion of the world and had imposed her will on many nations, many civilizations, many people in the world. Fast forward 2026, 60 years later, we also see how the Lord using a geographical element. Here we're talking about a strait is connected with the sea, the Strait of Hormuz, and it has resulted in the humiliation of the power of the day. I'm talking about United States of America. Um, there's no doubt that U.S. Is a powerful nation, but so many things have happened as a result of the war with Iran. The the Hormuz element is very, very important because um, the Hormuz, the strait is closed, and it's not closed by the United Nations. It is not closed by America. It's closed by Iran, a small nation, if you will, small in terms of the ranking of military powers in the world, not small in terms of geography, because Iran is a large nation with 90 million population. We are talking about Iran as an ancient nation, a nation specifically mentioned in the Bible, a nation that produced a leader, Cyrus, who was used by God to help his people. You know about the Cyrus prophecy in the Old Testament. The prophet Isaiah prophesied about a king, a Persian king, who helped the people of God. So the Hormuz crisis actually um, has led to the humiliation of United States of America. And if you will, it has resulted in the elevation of Iran in the eyes of people, and also in military discussions, and in the projection of power. And there's a pattern. The pattern goes through the Exodus period, where the Lord used the Red Sea to humble the arrogant Pharaoh. And it goes to the Suez Canal, 1956, where United Kingdom and France, along with Israel, um, they were humiliated during the crisis. Of course, the crisis led to the weakening of England, a naval power that lost respect, lost influence. Um, the the aim of the Suez Crisis, part of the aim was regime change involving the removal of Gamal Abdel Nasser. However, it did not result in regime change. In the same way that the crisis around the Strait of Hormuz, the February 28, 2026 joint American-Israeli attack on Iran did not lead to a regime change. Of course, the leader of Iran was decapitated, but his son took over, and Iran is also intact. And so the machinations of America and Israel in respect to regime change in Iran didn't come to pass. In that respect, the February 28, 2026 war give us a lesson that is part of the pattern whereby the Lord uses the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. The pattern where the Lord uses the weakest things of this world to confound the strong. You're talking about February 28, 2026 war, where despite unprecedented bombardment of Iran by joint forces of Israel and America, there has not been a regime change in Iran as expected by America and Israel. And also, as a result of the war, America financial power is under a threat. The petrodollar hegemony is under a threat because Iran was able to close the Strait of Hormuz. America and Israel did not expect that their bombardment would trigger the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. But Iran has done that. The Strait of Hormuz has been closed, and Iran is using selective diplomacy. You can pass through the strait with your oil if you pay your fees in Chinese yuan. Otherwise, we will not allow you to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. The petrodollar system is under stress, and the ultimatums have not worked. I'm talking about the president of America giving an ultimatum that Iran should fully open the Strait of Hormuz. Otherwise, the United States was going to bombard, destroy, or obliterate the power system in Iran. And you know the results. When the deadline was going to expire, there was a change. The president of the United States gave Iran 5 days. It shows that the ultimatum actually was not respected by Iran. It's a case where Iran is not respecting the president of the most powerful nation in the world. The Lord is using the weakest things of this world to confound the proud. The Lord is using the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. The time that people relied on their own strength was the ancient times, and the Lord gave them up. And the Lord gave up the Israelites when they deviated from God and they rely on the protection of foreign powers. You remember the story of the Old Testament when the people of Israel relied on the kings of Egypt and Assyria and others. When they went away from God, the Lord gave them up to their enemies, and they were defeated. Today, the Lord has used or is using the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. He's using the weakest things of this world to confound the strong. I had a vision about the Strait of Hormuz 2 years earlier. I didn't know what was going to happen in the Strait of Hormuz, but after February 28, 2026, all of us know what happened in the Strait of Hormuz. America, Israel, collectively, in a coordinated manner, attacked Iran, and Iran retaliated. And one of the retaliation is the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. And we know what it has done to the image of America internationally. We know what it has done to the credibility of the United States among the Gulf allied nations and even to NATO itself. and no NATO member is willing to come to the help of United States in opening the Strait of Hormuz. And American military faces a risk if they dare go to forcibly open the Strait of Hormuz. So this is a case where an elephant is powerless, a lion is powerless, the most powerful nation is powerless in relation to Iran's ballistic missiles, Iran's will and sheer tenacity, and their their deterrence in facing America's military might, to the point that American armada of ships, they had to flee, or rather reposition themselves in order not to be attacked by Iranian ballistic missiles or drones. The world is shaking the world. It is not the world shaking itself, it's God who is shaking the world. The proud is being shaken, and the proud nations are being shaken. The empires of the world are being shaken. America is being shaken, and Israel is being shaken because only yesterday Israel believed that it has F-35s and they can dominate the air. They had the Iron Dome and they can prevent incoming missiles, but strategic places are defenseless. Dimona nuclear plant is defenseless, and Iranian missiles are pounding Dimona nuclear site, and the air dominance and all the military tactics, they are defenseless against missiles coming from Iran. And so the lesson we can draw is that the Lord uses the foolish things of this world to confound, and the wise uses the weakest things of this world to confound the strong. In the days of Exodus, the Lord used the Red Sea to confound the strong. The Red Sea actually was divided, and the children of God passed through, and the proud, arrogant Pharaoh followed them, and it became a trap for the arrogant Pharaoh. His men fell, his chariots were drowned, and he was humiliated, and he entered into his grave under the sea. He was not given a proper burial because he was buried in the midst of the sharks under the Red Sea. 1956, the Suez Canal Crisis. UK, France, Israel, they coordinated their efforts to attack Egypt. And when Egypt nationalized the Suez Canal, they wanted to dispose of the government of Gamal Abdel Nasser, and they did not succeed. Britain fell, was humiliated, a naval power was humiliated, and now come February 2020, February 28, 2026, and we see another geographical location being a Waterloo for America, being a Waterloo for Israel. I'm talking about the Strait of Hormuz, the geographical location that the Lord showed me in a vision 2 years ago, and now I understand why the Lord showed me the vision. Is the forces of the most powerful armies in the world are facing challenges, and it's a precursor to the fall of empires, which will happen in the days of Daniel, and Daniel 2:44. In the days of those kings, these kingdoms will crash and the kingdom of the Messiah will come. When the Lord is coming, the world is shaking. And there's a new world order now. And the new world order is an indication of the falling of the empires that exist in this world, including the American empire, because a better empire is coming, and that empire is the kingdom of the Messiah, predicted by the prophet Daniel in Daniel 2:44. All these things are happening in the days of the sounding of the final trumpet of heaven, as revealed to me on August 27th, 2013. Behold, the Lord is using the geography that He created, the geography of the world, the earth that he created, the seas. He's using the seas to speak. He used the Red Sea to speak to Pharaoh. He used the Suez Canal to speak to United Kingdom, France, and Israel. And he's using the Strait of Hormuz to speak to America and all the nations that are very proud that the weakest things in the world can be used by God to confound the strong. And the foolish things of this world, even the seas and the canals and the straits, can be used to confound the wise. This is Messiah Revelation Ministry. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for sharing this video to your friends. Thank you very much.